participate, we definitely want to be able to hear your feedback and be able to hear from just you students overall. All right, so what is going to be discussed today? Basically, we're going to do a program overview of the Online Professional MBA program. We are going to have a panel discussion with faculty and graduates. There'll be a Q&A session. So again, utilizing that Q&A feature, please submit your questions to us. We'd be very happy to answer them. And at the end, I'll tell you a little bit how to receive the $300 deposit fee waiver that'll be available to you for your participation today. All right, so let's go ahead and start off with a poll question. What is your biggest concern in pursuing an online master's degree? As you can see, there are a couple of different options here. So if you can take the time to go ahead and select what's important to you, whether it be timing, finding a job, uncertainty of career options, being an online student, balancing school and life, all very important items. I will say if you are not seeing the item that you're interested in learning more about, utilize that Q&A function. Go ahead and send us the questions directly so we can answer those for you. All right, looking at the information here, it looks like balancing school and life is definitely a big question. Followed by timing. Timing is a big deal. I can understand the need to get additional information on that. We're going to go ahead and allow for some more people to answer. So one thing I will share with you is that you're in luck. All of the areas that you see before you are actually going to be covered. And we are going to give you the opportunity to be able to get the details on how to be successful in your program with the University of Miami. All right. We're going to go ahead and stop sharing the results now, and then we're going to move on into the presentation to give you the chance to get these answers. All right. Sorry, give me one moment. All right. So why pursue an MBA in the year 2020, 2021? I think there are a lot of things to take into consideration when coming up with the answer to this question. You want to take the opportunity to invest in yourself. Obviously, the pursuit of a degree is an opportunity to create new job, career paths for yourself. So investing in yourself is definitely going to be a priority. Taking the opportunity to mind the gap on your resume, filling in background, knowledge, information, skill sets, to be able to take the next step into what you want to achieve overall. Stay your course personally and professionally. Obviously, we have professional goals and personal goals. So pursuing your MBA would be able to accomplish that. Broadening your strength within your network. This is a perfect program to set you up to be able to network with other working professionals, as well as faculty, and being able to touch upon things that are currently happening as far as trends within the field of business. All right. Is now the right time to pursue an online master's degree? I think that when you take into consideration the MBA program happens to be a very versatile program that can be applied to a variety of different settings. Through the statistic listed here, the immediate return on investment provides you an opportunity to see that by completing an MBA, data shows that you will receive benefits by leaps and bounds, to be honest with you, depending upon the field of work that you're going to be going into. This is a great opportunity to recognize that just by completing this degree, you automatically set yourself up for success when it comes to building on salary, career opportunities, and just overall growth. For those of you that are interested in career switching, great statistics to consider. MBA graduates have an average of a 50% higher salary. Think about that. Just by completing your MBA, you're now setting yourself up to be able to make more money. For those of you that are pursuing an MBA and thinking about switching, you're not alone. About 75% of students fall within the same category. What a great opportunity to be able to now move into a career that you actually love. One thing I think will be great information for the women that are on the call is that you have an opportunity to be able to close that gap. By completing an MBA and switching your career, you actually open up the door to be able to receive higher pay and more opportunities. All right, so as an overview of the MBA program, there are a variety of things to take into consideration. This program is regionally accredited, ranked highly as far as US News and World Report. You have the opportunity to be able to receive mentoring and career support from award-winning faculty. Engaging online, the classroom's open to you 24/7, so therefore you can actually make this work for you as far as having the opportunity to go to class, handle your family responsibilities, handle your work responsibilities as well. You will find that you'll have opportunities to be able to connect with faculty multiple times throughout your program. Throughout the program, you'll find that there are opportunities as well to be able to take the curriculum and apply it in a real world setting. You're going to be receiving cutting edge information to really be able to utilize right away. It's major benefits. We do have classes starting in the fall, so there is definitely an opportunity to get through the application process. We'll talk a little bit about that. But ultimately, I don't want you to feel like you've missed out on that chance. We are accepting applications for the September 7th start date, and we also have an opportunity to apply for a spring term, January. All right, how does UM's Online MBA equip me with the skills to be successful? One of the things that you're going to find unique about this program is that the Online Professional MBA program is a standalone, but it also is a great partner with some of the certificates that we have to offer. We offer a variety of certificates in financial decision-making, corporate finance, accounting, practice finance. So if you're looking to take your MBA a step further, speak with an enrollment advisor about how you can do that by applying one of these certificates to your MBA. So some of the courses that you can anticipate in this type of program, as you can see, a variety of different subjects are being touched upon. Management and information systems. How important is that, considering that right now, everything is going virtual, everything is going remote, everything is including CRMs. This is a great opportunity to build your knowledge in this particular area if you haven't had exposure previously. And for those that have exposure, what a great way to be able to build on what you've already learned. We have opportunities within accounting, apply corporate finance, taxation, operations management. Again, you'll be able to see that with the information that it will be covered in the classroom, you'll be able to apply what you're learning in a real world setting. Take advantage of it. Faculty. So one of the biggest things that I think is a huge question for people is, will I get the same caliber of faculty as they do on campus? And the answer is yes. As you can see, the faculty that we have available to you not only teach on campus, but they also teach online. So the instruction that you're going to receive is going to fall directly in line with that curriculum. You'll find that in the online environment, you'll have smaller classes, which could be an asset. When you talk about networking opportunities, why not network with the people in your class? With smaller class sizes, you have the opportunity to build relationships with other individuals that are leaders within the field. You also have the opportunity to engage within the UOnline community or the University of Miami community. Both provide you an opportunity to be able to make those connections, be able to build relationships, learn from each other. You'll find that the approach from the faculty is very student focused. They have terminal degrees, if you can notice. Basically, they have their terminal degree and they've done extensive research in the field. So you'll have the ability to be able to learn from them. And again, you have interactions with them while you're in your classroom. So it'll be a great opportunity to be able to make those connections with faculty as well. All right, do I need a background in business to be successful in this program? I think that's a common question. And as I proved to you previously, is that you don't. The beauty of this particular program is that it can be applied in a variety of different settings. So again, with the skill sets, the coursework that I just mentioned or that you were able to see, you will find an opportunity to be able to take whatever previous education you've had and apply it to this degree to take you to the next level. Will I receive fewer opportunities than campus-based students? And I like answering this question because the answer is no. I think one of the things that you'll find with being an online student is that you have a lot of opportunities available to you, whether it be the type of engagement and collaboration that you get through utilizing some of the multimedia that's available. And what I mean by that is that there are videos, there are reports for you to read, there's interaction with each other through platforms like this, Zoom. You have the ability to take one course at a time, so it helps you to focus in on what's important, being able to do your classwork, spend time with your family, and be able to do the work that you need within your career. You'll find that within your online classroom, you will be a group with, again, other professionals. So again, that's part of the cohort-based model with being able to work with these individuals. You'll see them in the first class, they're all taking the same classes with you, and you'll have the chance to be able to build stronger relationships. I think that's very valuable. Online students receive support from dedicated advisors. You have the ability to connect with alumni. There are 180,000 plus alumni in our network. This is a huge asset for you to be able to stay connected. In addition to that, there are other resources available to you like the Topple Career Center, the ZIF Career Center. Launchpad, for some of those that are entrepreneurs, is a unique way in which the university provides a platform for you to be able to do exactly that, launch your ideas. What a great way to be able to get support with building whatever it is that you're wanting to move forward on as far as your plan, and having support and resources to be able to assist you with that. Again, this is all available to online students, so take full advantage. How does support online students? Well, this is designed with the professional working adult in mind. Again, the classrooms are flexible to you. You have access to class 24/7, which I think is a huge asset when it comes to feeling the opportunity of being able to get in, do what you need to do, and end the day and move on. One thing you will find, I'll be honest with you, are that there are deadlines each week. So I do want for you to be mindful of the fact that just like with any other university setting, you do have to turn in assignments on time. However, as far as when you go into class, it's open to you 24/7. Again, the classes are very, very small. So the benefit for you is that we keep them small for the reason of interaction. We want for you to be able to comfortably interact with each other and your faculty member to really build that learning experience. All right, so what options are available to me when it comes to tuition costs? A huge question, right? There is an opportunity for payment plans, such as a monthly payment plan. We work with you on that. Just to take a step back, for all students, your tuition does need to be paid prior to classes starting. So part of the enrollment process will be to talk to you about what are your options. One of the things you'll notice is that there are merit scholarships available where you have the ability to be able to reduce your tuition by a minimum, of 25%. You also have the ability to be able to utilize financial aid, apply for a Grad Plus loan, which we typically find most of our students utilize. The cost per credit is $2,170. So when it comes to being able to, again, assist you with financing your program, we can discuss exactly what you have available to you. The application process. So there are a couple of benefits to the application process that I would like to cover with you. One, there is no application fee, probably unheard of right now. But yes, that is true. There are no application fees. You also don't have to worry about taking a graduate level test. For those of you that have taken your GMAT or GRE, we will consider that for admissions. So definitely provide those scores. But otherwise, you have the process, knowing that it's not a requirement. One of the things I will say is that the process itself does not take very long at all. You probably already have a copy of unofficial transcripts, a copy of your resume. Those are items that you can easily upload if you visit the myuonline.miami.edu/sign up link. In addition to that, you have the ability to request for letters of recommendation, complete a personal statement. So getting started doesn't take very much time at all. It's a matter of going onto the site, building your profile, and starting to upload the items on your own. In addition to that, for students, you do have the ability to apply for financial aid, and we include the school code in the application to make that easier for you. Once you have submitted all of your documents, you're able to get a decision back within 48 hours. Ultimately, I think that's the best turnaround for our students. It gives the faculty enough time to really review your file and help determine as to whether or not this would be a good fit. The application deadline, as I mentioned, we have classes starting in the fall. So if you're interested in applying, get started now. The deadline is August the 17th, right around the corner. As I mentioned, the application process is fairly quick. So if you take a few minutes, start the application, get up and going, we can assist you with being able to get that admissions decision sooner than later. Excellent. So one of the things I told you in the beginning of the call is that we're going to give you the opportunity to meet with your faculty. One of the representatives today is Amy Agramont. She's the academic director of the UOnline MBA Miami Herbert Business School. She has also a great background. She's a creative director and owner of Blonde Concepts, a graphic design and marketing studio. Welcome, Amy. Thank you for joining us. I think I heard you just get on the line.
Yes. Hey, thank you, William, so much.
You're welcome.
How are you doing today?
I'm great. I'm doing great. Let me go ahead and introduce the other guests, and then we're going to go ahead and do a panel discussion. So in addition to that, the other other individuals that we have on the panel today are Jennifer Delapi. She is a MBA graduate from 2018. Jennifer is the manager for talent acquisition marketing for Carnival Cruise Line. She's used her skills to gain in the program to transition into marketing and communications with an emphasis on strategy and analytics. And she's received 2 promotions. Think about that, you all. We talked about opportunities, right? 2 promotions after completing her UOnline professional MBA program. Hello, Jennifer. Thank you for joining us. And we also have Leighton DaCosta. He is a recent graduate from 2019, Information Technology Chief. He works with General Dynamics. Leighton has a great background, not only within his current area of work, but he's also an award-winning and internationally published photographer. He has over 30 years of experience and has worked with organizations such as Salient CRGT, Textron Systems, Saft Batteries North America, and the US Navy. I'd like to welcome everyone to the panel today. And if you could do me a favor and go ahead and turn on your cameras so that we can see your faces. I have quite a few questions, and I want to be able to give you all an opportunity to be able to answer. Awesome. Thank you so much. And then, let's see, Leighton. And there's Leighton. Perfect. Thank you all for joining. All right, so let's go ahead and start off with Amy. Amy, so one of the questions that was presented to you is, discuss why the faculty are leaders in the industry for both research and hands-on experience in the field of business.
Yeah, great. And you know, William, you touched on it a little bit earlier, talking about some of the faculty that are teaching in the UOnline program. And I want to reemphasize that the professors on campus are also part of the online program. But generally is has 2 sort of different spaces where we have great talent. Of course, we are a research institution, so we have some really great published works by our faculty. We have published papers, we have published textbooks. I've taught from textbooks that were written by some of our faculty on campus, not necessarily in our program, but we have just a rich resource of people from that background, from academia. And then the other side of it, and it's where I land, are people who are in the industry, practicing business every single day. They are leaders in the industry. They might come from be some sort of, wild entrepreneur and have some really great credit to their name. Or they can be kind of like me, where I have a small boutique agency on the side and I'm on the ground doing the work day in and day out. So it's some real practical knowledge. And I know that from experience with some of my other students, they kind of enjoy that piece of it where I'm like, hey, it's not how it really happens in the real world. When you leave these awesome campus grounds, this is what you're going to see. And it's been a pleasure on both sides to hear from the people who are the published works and from the other part of our team that is working day in and day out, as well as being faculty.
That's excellent. I like how you bridge that gap too, right? Again, the biggest concern is, well, how do I apply what I've learned? And just like you said, you have direct experience and knowledge with being able to do that, not only from teaching and educating others, but also from living it yourself. I think that's a really great touch point. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and, again, kind of mix it up, give everybody a chance to answer questions. I'm going to go ahead and move to Jennifer. Jennifer, do me a favor and tell us a little bit about being an online student. How did you feel when it came to being supported while in the program? And maybe you can describe that from both dealing with faculty and even your classmates. Tell us a little bit about that, please.
I personally loved being an online student. I worked full-time while I was getting my MBA. So it was really important to me to have a program that was flexible, but also designed for the working professional, to where I could, if I had to work late some nights, I could move my deadlines and understand, when I needed to do things. As far as faculty goes, I felt like I was even closer to them than being on the campus itself. Sometimes I would send an email or even a text message, because professors would give out their cell phones. I would get calls or emails back almost right away in many cases, saying, oh, here's the answer, call me if you want to discuss it, or I'm happy to jump on a Skype or a video chat. So I didn't find myself having to wait for those office hours, or in undergrad, I would have to, go by someone's office and peek if they were available. So none of that, which was great. So I got that kind of instant gratification of when I had a question, I could immediately get an answer. And then in addition to the faculty being a huge resource as well, I think the students that you're going through the program as well, the cohort that you're in, you're able to form lasting relationships with them and really help form groups and understand, someone might be really skilled in finance, which was my background, and I had a group member that was really skilled in tech and accounting, and we were able to come together and kind of leverage our strengths and weaknesses to help maybe figure out a problem, work on a group project, or go through a case.
Yeah, actually, I think you touch on a couple of things, right? Collaboration, obviously a key to success. But then you also mentioned something, and I thought it was really interesting, and I kind of want to circle back to it, is with regards to managing your time depending upon what was going on in your life. So talking a little bit about, let's say you had an emergency and an unexpected situation come up. How would you have handled that in the online environment? Like, what resources or tools were available for you to handle that?
I think a great example of this is there was a hurricane that came through while we were going through the UOnline program. And I think it was like my first or second class. So I was like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? And it was the huge hurricane that came through, I think 2 years ago. A majority of our South Florida comrades lost power. They didn't have electricity for 2 to 3 weeks. And the professors were completely understanding. I believe I was in one of my data modeling classes at the time. And I remember my professor was like, I'm in it too, I don't have any power. So we're all just going to keep going through and manage our lives as best we can. And we will still be here when we're ready to come back, which I thought was really important, because the faculty understands that obviously life is going on around you. And sometimes you need to adapt to be able to overcome whatever's going on.
Yeah, I think that's a really valid point. Something else you touch upon, and Amy can speak to this as well, is the communication, right? Communicating with your faculty is important. They, again, are wanting to find out what's going on with you. They see you in class, even though you're not physically there. They know that you're contributing. So open the lines of communication. Talk with them a little bit about what's going on, and you'll probably find that either they relate or they can provide you some solutions with being successful. So I appreciate you bringing up those points. Leighton, I wanted to ask you a question, sir. When it came to choosing a program, why did you choose the Online MBA program with the University of Miami?
So when I was looking to choose which program I was going to do, I was sitting there between law school and going to my MBA course. And what I ended up doing was like, okay, you know what? I don't know which one I want to do. Then with work, I had to move, and I moved to Charleston, South Carolina. There we have the Citadel, which I can go use my GI Bill to go on campus, get a little bit of extra money stipend, or could I go back to University of Miami? But when I went to the onboarding session on campus, or the information session on campus, I was blown away by not just the knowledge of the professors that were there, but how they interacted with you. And when I'm looking at both programs, the Citadel is really big regionally, but Miami is big internationally.
Yes.
And they work down in Latin America and emerging markets in Asia and Africa. And that meant a lot to me when I was looking at what program to go with. And so that's pretty much why I chose to become a Cane.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And thank you for your service. I'm sorry I didn't open with that. I appreciate the feedback on your perspective. I think one of the biggest things, especially right now, is what path should I take? Why choose the MBA? And just like you were presented with the opportunities available, what's going to give you that biggest return on investment? So going back to Amy, I wanted to touch upon, through both examples, we talk about how the faculty is there to be able to assist students with connecting and achieving their goals. Tell me a little bit about how you support students within your role within the university.
Yeah, sure. And I like what Jennifer said, you kind of get to know the students a little bit more in this program. When
Yes.
we kind of met the other day, I said, in my online classes, I can have the kid in the back who sits with his invisibility cloak and doesn't really say too much, and it's hard to get around to them. But all the students inside this classroom, I have a very deep one-on-one connection with. Just my class in particular is heavily intense on individualized projects, right? And the support that I give then is that since it's all individual projects, there's a lot of feedback and back and forth, direct dialogue with each of the students that's in the class. And that's actually often is even more than I get to do with my students on campus. Just because sometimes we're doing group projects and other things like that. And routinely though, I will always encourage connection outside the classroom through LinkedIn or other things like this. I've met up with students, for coffee and things like that. And there have been the occasions when I'm able to give like the network moment, I've become that
Yes.
node in my students' network and they get passed along, and then, opportunities come around that way too. And I encourage all the students to connect with your professors. I mean, we're always being asked for really smart people. And I'm like, yeah, I have a whole bunch of them. Who do you need? So it's just one key moment in this process.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about just what you were talking about with making connections, right, with other business insiders or industry insiders. But a question came up, and I think that you would be the perfect person to answer this, is with regards to an individual says, I've been out of school for a long time. What is it going to be like for me to start a program like this? What type of tips would you recommend to someone who maybe hasn't been in school for the last decade or so, and now they're deciding to come back to complete their MBA?
Oh, fear not. If you've been out, you've been doing the thing that we're all preparing ourselves to do, you are ready. You're gonna hate PowerPoint for a minute, maybe. But you pick up so quick. And I happen to have gone through graduate school really quickly out of undergraduate. I just really like school. But when you get to come back later, it's a total different luxury, and you have to kind of look at it like that. You have all this experience, and you come into the classroom, and there's just this new gratitude for it. It's a really, all of my students are amazing in their own way, but the students who have come to the classroom with this other level of experience, and maybe some brand new graduates come into the program, both are equally suited for this program. But it's a nice mix of perspective,
Yes.
and learning and ideas that get shared, and then it's just a lot of know-how. I would say go for it. Absolutely. Don't be afraid.
I like that answer. It's absolutely true. You're right. You have things to still bring to the table. Even though you haven't been in school for a while, life experience is still an area of knowledge. That's a knowledge bank to draw from. I like that. I like that a lot. What about Jennifer? Do you have any perspective or thoughts when it comes to being someone in that particular field or situation, coming back to school? What are your thoughts from a student perspective?
That was kind of me. I hadn't been out quite as long. I graduated my undergraduate in 2012, and I enrolled in 2016 in the UOnline MBA. So I was a little out of it myself, and that was one of the kind of factors that made me say, you know what, I need to target an online program, because I know for me, I'm not going to do well forcing myself to go to a physical class. I have things going on. I have a life, I have work that's running late, and I have a family. So for me, it was nice to be able to prioritize. I think being out of school for a while and getting that real life experience is one of the main drivers that's going to actually make somebody successful in this program. You're going to go through the case studies and you're going to go through the projects, and you're going to have real life, real work scenarios to be able to relate things to. And for me, that's something that actually helped me apply the knowledge even better, to go
Excellent.
through everything and really understand from theory to concept to application, how is something going to work in the real world.
Excellent, excellent. What about you, Leighton? I don't know if you had the same type of experience with being someone who went into their program a little bit later, but what about maybe interacting with students who had a similar background, where maybe they didn't necessarily come directly from their undergraduate into the MBA program, which obviously a lot of our students are adult learners. What was your experience like in interacting with those students?
Well, first of all, I graduated undergrad back in 2010. And so then I started in 2017. What's ironic is one of the guys that were in my class, we both were in flight school in the Navy around the same amount of time.
Oh, wow.
Right, back in like 2008, 2009. So it's one of those things to where, because of the large demographic from people from 25 to a lot older, I think it blends well. And like Jennifer said, with the cohort style, you're used to seeing the same faces when you start another class. Yes. And so, and what's good is that you learn who you do work well with and who you don't work well with. Mm-hmm. And, the strengths. So like, for example, I have a curriculum development background as well. So I was the one that usually wrote all the papers when we did groups, and everybody comes together. So, everybody has a strength that they can add.
Yes.
It's like Jennifer, and you realize quickly that even just because somebody graduated from their undergrad 2 years ago or a year ago, doesn't make them any less valuable to the team as somebody who was 10 years ago. So. Absolutely.
So it's unanimous. Whoever asked the question, don't wait, do it. You'll have the support. Awesome. All right, so there are a couple questions, not necessarily directed to the panel, that I want to go ahead and answer. One of the questions was with regards to expectation for the program, as far as time for completion. The program can take as little as 24 months. It can go up to 28 months, depending upon what exactly it is you're doing. There are concerns about making sure you have the ability to take your classes in a succinct order and being able to, stay on top of the course sequencing, right? We can talk a little bit more about that once you become a student, but the reality is that the program is designed specifically for individuals to try to utilize this as quickly as possible. We don't want to delay you in your abilities to be able to use what you've learned in the classroom. So let's see here. One thing I did want to bring up, that was one of the questions, was with regards to residency. And I think, Jennifer, you happen to be one of the individuals that participated in the residency experience. So I wanted to get some feedback from you in regards to what that experience was actually like.
The residency was hands down, bar none, my favorite thing about the Online Professional MBA program. It was a 2-week-long program to where we went and we all met with our cohort on campus. It was taught by Dr. Patricia Brill, and it was a negotiation style course. So definitely the thing that you want to know coming out of this program, because now you've learned so much more, you're so much more capable, and you have so much more of a wealth of knowledge available to you. If your company isn't automatically giving you a promotion, it's time to negotiate. So
I like that.
It's time, because you're just so much more well-rounded. One of the things that I really enjoyed about the class was the variety of people that Dr. Brill brought in, people that do international work with all different types of governments, to people that run local businesses, and you kind of get their perspective on how they negotiate and things like that. And it's not just negotiation in terms of salary. It's negotiation in terms of understanding perception and how the words you say can have an impact on what you're trying to get out of it. Kind of like, subliminal messaging a little bit,
exactly.
Using positive words versus negative words. And you would never really understand until you take this course how important it is, the words that you choose, and getting the outcome that's desired for you.
Yes. Yes, I really appreciate that feedback. What about you, Leighton? Did you have residency experience as well in your program? Did you choose that route, or did you go the other route with choosing class?
I did the residency experience as well, and I
Oh,
am
great.
100% a fan of it. I'm glad I did it. I had Dr. Scandora. I believe it was Dr. Scandora that taught me for negotiation as well this year or last year. I will say this, learning how to increase value and making the pie larger and then claiming what's in that pie. When I left my last employer, I went to my new employer, and it was a difference of probably about, $30,000 or $40,000 difference. But it wasn't just the money difference. It was things like, hey, asking for sign-in bonuses, asking for relocation bonuses, things that a lot of people just leave on the table, asking for, extra PTO, asking for working 410s instead of 5/8, little
Yes.
things like that. And those are things that a lot of times the, hiring managers, HR are not usually even approached with. And so it forces them to go back and ask the questions. And so I think that experience, and just like Jennifer said, there was one situation, usually like the first day when you start negotiating, you learn everything, and you go into this and, you think that you got a good deal. Your partner feels that they got an amazing deal. Both of you walk away happy, as you can be. Then you hear the rest of the class, and you see the deals that the rest of the class goes, and then now you hate each other because you feel like you got overwhelmed each other. So, I mean, that is one of the things and it comes down to communication and getting a story out. And like I said, the negotiation class was absolutely amazing. And the residency, I'm glad I took the residency route.
That's excellent. That is really excellent to hear. One of the things I didn't touch upon, and I want to offer clarification, one of the questions that came to me in the session was, are there requirements to be on campus? And the answer actually is no, there aren't requirements to be on campus. What I'm speaking to the students about, or the alumni, about, are the choice that they made to participate in the residency experience. That's offered to all the MBA students. You have a choice to either do a residency for 1 week on campus, or you have the opportunity to take a class. So the option is there for those of you that do not have the ability to just get up and travel and go. For those of you that are outside of the state of Florida, for those that are outside of the state and are interested in coming in, what a great opportunity to be able to do what they've just described. Interact with others within your classroom, interact with faculty like Amy, be able to ask questions about real world scenarios and how you're actually able to apply them. I want to touch upon that as well. We talk about, again, taking what you've learned and applying it in a real world setting. Maybe, as alumni, you can give us some background in regards to what that was like for you. Leighton, since you just finished, what was that like for you? What maybe class stood out for you where you were just like, oh, wow, this directly applies to what I'm dealing with right now. Let me gain all those golden nuggets, if you will, of information to be able to apply right away.
Well, outside of the negotiation side, like one of the things was when we started going through process, visual mapping and stuff like that, writing with curriculum, designing courses and designing the entire layout of how our program is going to go from beginning to end. Using things like statistical information. There's a lot of knowledge that I got while I was a student here that every day on a daily basis, I'm like, oh, I know this. And there's a concept called, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it, called Dunning-Kruger effect, where, you feel that because it's easy for you, it's easy for everybody else.
Right.
Not everybody else has had the same knowledge or experience that you have. And so now you provide extra value to wherever you're at. And so on a regular, like I said, it's one of those things that I am thoroughly glad I did. And just for full disclosure, right? So I had Professor Agramante as well, right? So nice I actually had her twice. So the reason why I brought that up is because I chose to do a student break during the first time I had her, which drew me out from the 24-month track to now longer than 24 months, right?
Exactly.
Therefore, what's important is because I was working full-time, I ran a business, and I'm going to, as an MBA student, full-time. Yes. And then every once in a while, I'm finding ways to travel, to Jamaica or Aruba or whatever during this time. And you deal with life expectancies, life emergencies, hurricanes, and whatnot, and not the ones that play on the field, but the ones that come up, from Puerto Rico and wipe out everything. So you deal with all this other stuff.
Right.
And the system and the way that the faculty are, especially my advisor, I had Pamela Cruz at the time, and they are there to help you, make you successful, not just to take your $2,100 a credit hour.
Yeah.
So, full disclosure.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And name dropping, we talk about support, right? He mentioned Pamela. Basically, the support that we have for online students is continual from day one all the way through to graduation. So they always have a touch point. They always have somebody to be able to revert back to for, well, what do I do in this situation? So I appreciate you bringing that up. Jennifer, what course stood out for you in your entire program where you thought, this is great information, I need to apply this today?
I think for me, one of the courses, I had two that really stuck out, but I'm going to go with my strategy course because I feel like it's something that you can utilize for whatever field that you're in. I knew going into the UOnline program that at some point I wanted to make a career change. I had worked in finance for the past 8 years, and I knew I wanted to do something else, but I wasn't really sure where I could go or what I could do with my analytics type background. In doing the strategy courses, it really taught me how to look at things from the bigger picture, not just 1 or 2 levels up, but really kind of where would the presidencies be looking at these types of things, and how does everything kind of flow together to be able to go back to my work and say, okay, yeah, I have this great background in analytics, but now I kind of understand how everything meshes together, and I can use that to go forward with my career change.
Absolutely. I like that. Very nicely stated. Amy, when it comes to the courses that you instruct for, what feedback do you receive from students about being able to take what you've taught them and actually being able to apply it? What is that like? Tell me a little bit about that, please.
I usually get students right after they've taken finance. So happy. They're like, oh, thank God. Honest to God, this is what I get a lot. So, sometimes my students come to me, they're like, oh, this is so much fun. And then I have other people who I like numbers and I like 1 + 1 = 2. And why do you ask me to be creative? I'm like, because it's fun. They're like, it's not fun, it's painful. So anyways, we have a lot of fun. In marketing, we're talking about some pretty broad concepts.
Right.
We're applying some things. I ask students to create, something of their own imagination. And we work through marketing concepts by virtue of working through a project, applying those things along the way, and then I get to give feedback along the way, and I have a great time. So I hope everybody else is having a good time. I really like what I'm doing. What was the second part of your question, William? I got lost in
no, actually that answers it. What I was asking is just basically, what is the student feedback like? How are they applying what you're learning? And I mean, I think those are some great examples as to.
Yeah, and we have parameters for the assignments, but I'm an entrepreneur myself, and I definitely have students who come through the course who are already entrepreneurs, and they might be pursuing a pet project, and in this day and age, generally we have a career, a side career, and then our project we really want to grow. And when I have those students who have that project, I said, okay, let's work on it. I don't care what it is, let's do it. And I've had countless over the semesters of students say, hey, I'm ready to work on this thing, walk me through the paces. And so that is really satisfying and exciting. So by the end of the term, like, man, this was really useful.
Right.
My time, it's one thing to sort of earn a concept in an abstract way because we have a case study of something that may or may not be related. It's entirely something else when, you're given the green light, study what you're doing and let's work through it. It's good.
Excellent.
Stuff. Yeah.
Excellent. I have to admit, Amy, you're popular because there are a couple of questions that came up specifically for you. There was a question specifically about, you touched upon finance, and so that pricked up someone's ears. They wanted to know, what advice would you give to students that maybe are having to do the finance portion, right? As part of the program, as one of the requirements. How do you encourage them to kind of stick it out and work their way through it?
Again, fear not, just do it. It'll be okay. And, finance is a really important piece of our economy, our network, our everything that we do in life. And there are so many important things that come out of that class. You know, it's a little bit taxing if people have been sort of out of the habit of adding, I should say, and I'm making a joke about it, but it's an important place to go. And, you know, and you feel it's sort of like you want there to be that challenge. Like, that's the magic. If you went through this and it was really easy,
right?
Oh, well, you know, it's like when you go and do a lousy workout, like, oh, but I'm not sore. Did I really even do it? Did it count? So there are places that become more challenging for some. I think that Leighton referred to it. There are places where, you know, it's because it's easy for you. Maybe you assume it's easy for everybody.
Right.
I'm probably guilty of that with marketing because I think it's just fun and what everybody should be doing all the time.
Right.
So some will be really strong finance and accounting. Some will be more strong in the other pieces of it. And so it evens out in the end. You'll find your strengths, you know, through the entire course of the program.
Yeah, you know, one thing, because someone was asking about, you know, how many courses are in the program, she's referring to two different aspects of courses, within the program. There are a total of 18 courses. I think everybody will be able to speak to the ability to take your courses. We talked about succinctly, it's one course at a time. So that's the other benefit, right, Amy? You're not dealing with marketing and finance at the same time. You don't have to confuse yourself, mix your loyalties, so to speak. So I think that's a huge benefit for our students. One of the things that I think is important, and I think they being the listeners would like to hear from you, Amy, is what do you think helps the MBA at stand out in comparison to maybe some of the other schools that are out there? What do you think is one of those, this is the reason why you would go this path?
How about the faculty and the students? It takes both of those pieces that create that community, that have that environment that you don't get from other places, right? Our classrooms are still pretty small. And by the way, I'm also a Kane. I went to, I don't know if everybody knows that here. I know that Leighton and Jennifer do. But yeah, I undergrad and graduate, I'm a Kane, and I wound up back here just by pure happenstance. So I'm just supposed to be here. This is what my whole entire line is. But it's just this, I have to vouch for it because, you know, I went here and I go here. I sound like Elle Woods from, but I go here. And it's that community, and it's something, it's an intangible moment, but it resonates so deeply with me and with other alumni, but also with the students, you know. And when you have professors who I know that they really care because I work with them and I'm really excited about it, they're really excited about it, the students are invested and they feel strongly about being a part of the Hurricane community, that matters, right? And then you leave, right, and you always come back because you have this sort of pride that you have this attachment to this university that has so many great resources. We have so many great alumni also. And there's just a lot of spirit. You know, we're a tiny school in a big brand, and it sticks.
Yeah.
It just sticks.
I like that. I mean, Leighton spoke to it as well with regards to how he made the choice between law school, for goodness sake, and pursuing his MBA. What about you, Jennifer? Do you have some feedback for someone who's, you know, questioning why the MBA program?
I think just for me, my dad was a Kane as well. So I'm a legacy. I had always had in my pipeline to go to at some point. But as someone who's worked, you know, all over the country, and Leighton also, a degree from University of Miami just reads differently on your resume. I've had multiple employers tell me, you're a Kane, and I had to talk to you because I know that just the level of education is just different. And it really is. And that rings true for the Northeast, which is where I did my undergraduate degree as well and stayed working, to the Southwest of the country as well, in California, Nevada area. Having the University of Miami on your resume really, as a talent acquisition professional as well, it really just moves your resume to the top of the pile because it's just an unmatched level of education. Like Amy said, it's the community, it's the faculty, it's a leading research institute. I mean, University of Miami is literally paving the way for a lot of the COVID stuff that's going on as well. So this isn't just another school that's, okay, yeah, great, we've got great sports and we're in paradise. This school is actually changing the way that the world works for the better. So if you want to be a part of that, then you've got to be a Kane.
That's right. That is right. I like that. I like that a lot. You know, you actually touch upon something, especially right now with the way that things are going. Obviously, we're all dealing with this pandemic. One of the questions that came up when we were talking about residency was, is that resident experience currently going on? And I'll be honest with you, I think this is going to be better answered once you start your program. Obviously, the biggest concern is everyone's safety. So the university has taken some precautions and which one is saying steps to ensure each student's safety. For those individuals that are going to pursue the MBA program and are interested in the residency experience, the goal would be by the time you get to that phase in your program, we would all be in a great space, right? But I also feel like, and again, to be honest with you, it would be in our best interest to say, let's go ahead and reserve that question for once you're in your program. Because as I've mentioned, you have the opportunity to come for a residency experience, or we provide you with the opportunity to participate in a class. So there is still an opportunity to learn information. It would just be handled differently. So I just wanted to cover that really quickly. Some other questions that came in for me to give the panel a bit of a rest. International students are asking, you know, if I earn this degree, is it considered an official degree from the United States? And the answer is yes. You earn your degree from the University of Miami. The University of Miami is a regionally accredited university. So as the panel has said, you know, the recognition is there. You do not have to feel differently because of the fact that you earned your degree in the online setting. It's the same education as you would experience actually on campus. So definitely want to be clear about that. Always questions about financing programs. For those students in the United States, as we've mentioned, there's opportunity to utilize financial aid, the Grad Plus, those things of that nature. For individuals that are outside of the United States, international students, you do not have the ability to utilize financial aid. However, we do have scholarship options to be able to help reduce that tuition to assist you. In addition to that, we also work with employers with any tuition assistance that might be available to you. So there are definitely quite a few things that we can do to provide you with information on what steps to take when it comes to taking care of that aspect of your program. So let's see here. Wow, time has flown. I can't believe we're already at the end of our hour. I think there's been a lot of great information that we've gone over. One of the things that I think that I want to make sure of is that for individuals that are looking to learn more about the programs, how to finance their degree, more about curriculum and whatnot, this is the reason as to why we provided you with the number. This is the reason why we had you participate in this webinar, to be able to get some of that information that would be available to you. But if you didn't get everything that you needed answered here, it's okay. We want you to connect with us. There are opportunities to connect with enrollment advisors through our toll-free number, 1-800-411-2290, or through our chat. I'll go ahead and flash those addresses for you all again at the end of the session, so that way you have that. But I think ultimately, the reality is that there's a lot of potential, a lot of opportunity with pursuing your MBA. As far as the career aspect is concerned, as you can already see, this is a degree that is versatile. You have the ability to apply it anywhere. Just with the 3 individuals that are on the panel right now, they've all been able to utilize the degree in 3 totally different ways. So think about that when it comes to the time to pursue this degree and thinking about what your opportunities are. So I want to thank everybody for your participation as far as the panelists are concerned. I appreciate you answering the questions and being good sports. Thank you so much for your time. For everybody else who is on the line, or excuse me, the participants that are on the line, as I mentioned, we were going to tell you about how to receive that $300 deposit fee waiver. Ultimately, your name has been collected. So once you create a profile, start your application, we will be able to work with you on getting that put into your profile. Again, the application deadline is August the 17th. Please, please, please do not wait until the last minute to apply. Let's start it now. It doesn't take that long to get the application. Pull out that resume, get those transcripts. If you have questions, as I mentioned before, give us a call to 1-800-411-2290. Any advisor would be able to assist you. You can also visit our chat at uonline.miami.edu. Again, to start the application, you have the email address there. What we're going to do is end the presentation at this point. I appreciate everyone for taking the time to join us. There will be a survey at the end, so please take a few moments to be able to complete that survey. We'd love to get your feedback. But otherwise, I hope you found this to be great information to assist you with being able to make the determination on when do I submit that resume? When do I submit that transcript for review? I wish you all the best of luck. Thank you for your time and have a great evening.